Hi, this is Aaron, and today I'm going to show you the Industrie und Glück Tarok deck, which is basically the Central European member of the Tarot deck family. This is used for all of the Central European games such as Königrufen, Zwanzigerrufen, which are both mainly played in Austria, and then also the national variants of Tarok from Slovenia, Hungary, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, parts of southern Poland, basically anywhere that was in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Looking at the suit cards first, you'll notice that there's only 8 cards in each suit. You've got the 4 court cards and then 4 pip cards. And the pip cards only have the 4s, the 3s, the 2s and the 1s in the red suits, and then the 7s, 8s, 9s and 10s in the black suits. This is because in most traditional Tarok and Tarot games, historically they used irrational card ranking, which was that the pip cards in the red suits were backwards from what you'd expect. The 10s were lowest and the 1s were highest, but in the black suits it was normal. Now, at some point they decided that there were too many cards in the Tarok deck that they were using in Central Europe, and they stripped out the bottom 6 pip cards of each suit, leaving only 1, 2, 3, 4 in the red suits and 7, 8, 9, 10 in the black suits, for a total of 54 cards once you add the trumps. As you'd expect, being a Tarok deck, you have both a jack but also a knight in each suit. So you can see here the suit of hearts. They are all dressed more or less like European nobility. This deck doesn't use any corner indices, but you can work it out. The king wears a crown, the queen's the only lady, the knight's on a horse, and the jack is the other one. You can identify the jack basically by process of elimination. The German names for the court cards are König for the king, Dame for the queen, Kaval or Reiter for the knight, and Bube for the jack. Same as with hearts, the diamonds just have 4, 3, 2, 1 in the pip cards. Then the jack is holding some kind of mace. The first time I ever saw this deck was on a phone app where I was learning to play Königrufen, and it looked like he was holding a pineapple. It's nice that I can see that it is actually a mace there. You'll notice on the jack's shield, he also has the name of the manufacturer, which is Ferdinand Piatnik und Söhne from Vienna, or Wien in German. The black suits have 7, 8, 9, 10, as I explained before. The jack of clubs also has Piatnik und Söhne Wien on his shield. You'll notice that the knight of clubs looks a little bit more Middle Eastern than some of the other ones that we saw in the red suits. He's wearing a turban and he's got a curved sword, but the king and the queen still look relatively European. And lastly, spades. You have got, again, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the pip cards, and then the jack. And then the knight is also meant to represent something along the lines of Ottoman Turkish kind of garb, or at least how the Austrians imagine Ottoman Turkish garb to look back in those times. The queen also looking a little more exotic, and the king with a turban under his crown and a crescent moon on his scepter. Okay, I'll show you the trumps 5 at a time. So first, the trumps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 often have a nickname as a group. The Vögel in German, which means the birds. This has to do with what happens in some of the different games, where if you watch my video on how to play Königrufen, you will learn that there is a couple of special bonuses that you can win with these cards. Number 1 is called the Pagat, which is from the Italian word bagatto or bagatelle, which is what they call the 1 of trumps in traditional Italian decks. And number 2, also, you will notice once it's spun around, because all of these cards are double-headed, number 2 has the imperial eagle from the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which was given a cheeky nickname, the Uhu, which actually refers to an owl, or a kind of owl in that part of Europe. And the stone he's sitting on has Industrie und Glück written on it, which has become a nickname for this whole Tarok deck. Industrie und Glück means hard work and fortune, which hard work and good luck is what you need to win in cards. The number 1 is sometimes also nicknamed the Spatz, which means the sparrow in German. The 3 is nicknamed the Kakadu, which is German for a cockatoo. As an Australian, I feel very honoured that the cocky made it onto one of them. And the 4 is a Marabout from the marabou stork, which lives in Africa. 5 is not always counted as one of the birds, but when it is, it's nicknamed the Gaia, which means a vulture. Now the trumps 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on, all feature scenes of rural life in Central Europe, sort of designed in the late 19th, early 20th centuries. There's no particular theme to them, other than they show just different scenery and different goings on in regular rural life all through the empire. If you look around, there are certain characters who look like they crop up again. A couple of times there's a pair of lovers, and then you see them again on a higher trump with a baby in one case, and different scenes with people on boats, farming, musical instruments, things like that. I should mention as well, there's a bit of variety in this deck, particularly whether the ones that were made in Austria as opposed to the ones made in the Czech Republic, or copies of this deck made by Modiano from Italy. There are certain little regional variations as well, and also historically in Austria you would have a lot of different sort of thematic kind of novelty prints as well. One which is like a Chinese Tarok, and it has sort of the way that 19th century Austrians imagined, you know, the sort of oriental kind of thing was in vogue at that point. And you have things like the Jagd Tarok, the hunting Tarok, which might have different scenes, and Veduten Tarok, which would have sort of scenery from real places around Vienna and elsewhere. The Czech editions of this deck also, for example, removed the words Industrie und Glück from the stone when they became independent from the Austrians after World War I. Now we come to the big guys. We got the 21, also nicknamed Der Mond, which means the moon in German, and the Sküs. The nickname for the 21 is kind of interesting. In a traditional tarot deck, this was the world, which in French is Le Monde. Unfortunately, Le Monde sounds like the German word Mond, meaning moon, so it was mistranslated, and then that joke has just kind of persisted, and then you see there's a little crescent moon on the card in reference to it, and it's still called the moon in German today, even though it should really be the world. So the Sküs is named after Excuse, which is the name of the fool in a French tarot deck. However, it's not an excuse, it's actually the Trump 22. So it's got the French name, but is not used in the French way. Another nickname for it is the Gestieß. So you hear both of those in German. I'll add the Pagat here, and we have the Trull, the 1, the 21, and the 22, or the Gestieß, the Sküs, whatever you want to call him. When you learn the games that are played with that deck, this combination of 3 cards will be very important. So there you have it. That's the Central European Standard Tarok deck, nicknamed Industrie und Glück. You need this for Königrufen, Zwanzigerrufen, TAP, Czech Taroky, Hungarian Tarok, Slovenian Tarok, any of them. Pick up one of these. You can find them online fairly easily. Piatnik is the most famous brand making them, and you can generally get one for a pretty good price to deliver anywhere in the world. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks.